We're on the record in two cases. First case is cause number 319464. The second case is cause number 320626. Both cases are styled the state of Texas versus Misha Lachey Ross. Is that your full name? You have to speak up.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Ross, would you please raise your right hand? Ms. Ross, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Ross, you may put your hand down. How you doing, Ms. Ross?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Ms. Ross, in cause number 319464, the information alleges that on or about April 22nd of 2018, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, you committed to Class A misdemeanor offense of failure to identify a fugitive from justice. Do you understand
Yes, sir.
what you've been charged with? Do you understand what you've been charged with? And to this charge, Ms. Ross, how do you plead guilty? Not guilty or no contest? Guilty? Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes.
Ms. Ross, I'm gonna show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 1. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And on page 2 of the same document, Ms. Ross, oh, she didn't sign them.
Huh?
Are these your initials on the line that says guilty?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, Ms. Ross, there's a, Peppo, could you hand this to her? This is, she didn't sign where it says discovery, the discovery. Okay, thank you. Ms. Ross, also on this document, below the paragraph that is titled Discovery Admonishment on page 2 of State's Exhibit number 1, are these your initials?
Yes, sir.
And your initials is on the line that says, I do not request discovery of the evidence. I waive my right to request discovery in this case and choose to enter a plea of guilty or no contest. Is that correct? On page 3 of this same document, Ms. Ross, there's a signature above the line that's titled Defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes.
And on page, well, on the next document, which is titled the Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And is this your signature on the line that says Defendant?
Yes.
Now, at the top of this document, there are 2 boxes that are checked. The first box states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
The second box states that you are waiving or giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Ms. Ross, prior to signing this document, you also, you also signed some other documents that I have before me. I have a document here that is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendants Without an Attorney. Ms. Ross, is that your signature and initials on this document?
Yes.
And on this document, your initials is on a line that says, I want to waive my right to an attorney and represent myself. Is that correct? And on the next document, which is titled Waiver of Counsel for Purposes of Entering a Guilty Plea or Proceeding to Trial, is this, do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And is that your signature above the line that says Defendant?
Yes.
Now, Ms. Ross, prior to signing and initialing the documents on the tablet and the documents on the paper, did you have an opportunity to review the documents?
I did.
And did you read the documents? And did you understand what you read?
Yeah, pretty much, yes.
Okay, did you understand what you said, did you understand what you read?
Yes.
Okay. And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Ross, I have before me what is marked as State's Exhibit number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment. The state would like to use this document as evidence against you in your case. Now, State's Exhibit number 1 is a document that have your initials on page 2 and your signature on page 3. Is it all right for the state to use this document as evidence against you in your case?
Oh. Can I plead a fifth? Can I plead a fifth?
Well, no, this is, well, the question that I'm asking you, is it all right for the state to use this document, the document that you initially signed as evidence in your case?
Okay, well, yes, I did do that. Yes, sir.
Okay. And, okay. No objection, states exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Now, Miss Ross, is there any evidence that you're currently mentally incompetent to stand trial? Now, do you have any mental issues? Are you mentally incompetent to stand trial? Do you understand what you've been charged with? You understand why you're in court?
Yes.
Do you have any mental problems that prevent you from knowing and understanding what is going on in this court?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, so at this time, Ms. Ross, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of guilty and waivers was freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor. It's for 5 days, credit for time served, tax and retire of the court cost.
Okay, Ms. Ross, the state is offering that you serve 5 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you would not have to serve 5 days in the Jefferson County Jail for this case because you've already served 5 days in jail. Therefore, you'll be given credit for time served. If you owe any court costs, the court cost is $342. You would not have to pay the court cost because the 5 days that you spent in jail has already paid it off. Therefore, the court costs will be taxed and retired. Ms. Ross, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
I think that's very fair.
And do you accept the state's offer?
I do. Do I owe you guys anything?
No. Do you accept the state's offer?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Ross, I will follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Now, Ms. Ross, you have another case. The second case is cause number 320626, and it's styled the state of Texas versus Misha Lachey Ross. The information in this case alleges that on or about April 22nd of 2018, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of possession of marijuana. Ms. Ross, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Ms. Ross, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty.
Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading guilty because you're guilty?
Yes, sir.
Now, Ms. Ross, I'm going to show you what's been marked as state's exhibit number 1. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of this same document, Ms. Ross, here we go again. Are these your initials on the line that says guilty?
Yes, sir.
Okay, could you, she has the initial, where it says discovery, if she's waiving or not.
So we're saying I won't. I don't know. I don't need no money. I know I'm guilty. And I understand. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Ross, I have before me state's exhibit 1 on page 2. You acknowledge that those are your initials on the line that says guilty. There are another set of initials on a line that reads, I do not request discovery of the evidence. I waive my right to request discovery in this case and choose to enter a plea of guilty or no contest. Are these your initials on that line?
Yes.
On page 3 of this same document, Ms. Ross, is that your signature above the line that says defendant?
Yes, sir.
And on the next document, which is the trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is this your signature above the line that says defendant?
Yes, sir.
There are two boxes that's checked at the top of the document. The first box says that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
The second box states that you're waiving, which means you're giving up your right to appeal. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Also, I have before me, Ms. Ross, two documents. The first document is the judge's explanation of rights of defendants without an attorney. And do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is that your signature on this document at the bottom?
Yes, sir.
And are these your initials?
Yes, sir.
And that the initials are on a line that says, I want to waive my right to an attorney and represent myself. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Have another document here that is titled Waiver of Counsel for Purposes of Entering a Guilty Plea or Proceeding to Trial. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is that your signature above the line that says defendant?
Yes, sir.
Now, Ms. Ross, prior to signing and initialing these documents, did you have an opportunity to review the documents?
Yes, sir.
And did you review the documents?
Yes, sir.
And did you understand what you reviewed?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer State's 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Ross, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State's Exhibit number 1 is the document that have your initials on page 2 and your signature on page 3. State would like to use this document as evidence against you in this case. Is it all right for the state to use this document as evidence against you in your case?
Yes, sir.
Okay, no objection. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. And Ms. Ross, is there any evidence that you're currently mentally incompetent to stand trial? Okay, you have to speak up. You said.
No, I don't
Okay.
have any.
Ms. Ross, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of guilty and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do you have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor. It's for 5 days, credit for time served, tax and retire of the court costs.
Okay. Ms. Ross. The state is offering that you serve 5 days in Jefferson County Jail. However, you've already served 5 days in Jefferson County Jail. And therefore, you would not have to serve any more time in jail on this case because you would be given credit for time served. The court cost in this case is $337. You would not have to pay the court cost because the time that you spent in jail has already paid it off. Therefore, the court cost will be taxed and retired. Ms. Ross, do you understand the state's offer? Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Very fair, yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
I do.
Okay, Ms. Ross, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Ms. Ross, please stand on the X in front of the court clerk and follow her directions. And once you finish with the court clerk, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.